Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today is August 17th, 2020. We'll call this meeting order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Zielinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez? Here. Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava-Esparza?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you. Officers report, starting with myself. I know on your agendas, wishful thinking, I didn't have anything on there, but yeah, I did have a couple of things I had to bring up. I want to just share with the board that this afternoon I did issue an email to all the affected departments where I'm asking that both sides of the village hall, be it the clerk's office on one side of the building and the building of water on the other side of the building, I want to mandate cross-training, because I really think this is something I wanted to do for a while. And certainly in the lieu of the COVID-19 pandemic that, again, we're all having our mask with us at all times and stuff like this. The one thing I really don't want to risk is, for any reason, let's say an employee comes in and may have tested positive, or their spouse, and it could affect the entire department. And I need to have more employees on both sides of the house know what the other's jobs are, so we have some support. And both on the clerk's office side, and certainly the same scenario on the building and water side. In the meantime, I did have a meeting on Friday with HR, Dan Triben, who's our water commissioner, and our office supervisor, Erica O'Donnell, to explain what I was looking for. And I did ask Dan and HR, we agreed temporarily we're going to put a hold status on hiring somebody in the as a clerical position in the water department while we conduct the cross-training and stuff then too. We did inform the union of it today to let them know what we're doing. And I asked Danny for a little bit of patience with this while we want to support his department. At the same time, like I said, I can't risk having one side of the building or the other be affected by this virus. And I still think it's still a good practice to have anyway then too, where both sides of the house know each other's jobs, where we've got more support. It could be vacation support, it can mean a lot of different things, but more universal help, much like the fire department does. I was thinking about that today, where when we hire a fireman, he's got a fireman certificate, he's got an EMT and a paramedic certificate too. Makes it easier for scheduling and whatnot, and they all know each other's jobs. So I've asked Erica, I talked with her earlier, she's going to come up with a schedule and how we can make this happen. And again, while we have an empty chair, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of swap back and forth and stuff then too. Next, unfortunately, I spoke to a couple trustees as you walked in. I gave you an internal memo on this, but unfortunately our finance director, I believe he's been with us for, 6 years? Submitted his resignation, and he's going to accept another position elsewhere, so we wish him well. And I had Human Resource Manager Shanae Hunter draft a template on how we're going to fill the finance director vacancy that I passed out to all the trustees this evening. Basically, just an overview to say that we want to make our best effort to effectively and efficiently fill this upcoming vacancy of the finance director position. And she and I discussed the following regarding. Now she suggested the compensation that you're looking at here, and I did give everyone a couple of sheets on all the nearby communities on what they pay their finance directors based on population, and there was a few other things there too with benefits for some of them. I also put in there, as far as advertising for this job, that we're going to defer to many organizations that the HR manager outlined here. She'd like to utilize the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, the Illinois Government for Finance Officers Association, Southwest Conference of Mayors, Illinois Municipal League, Illinois Municipal Treasurer Association, and last was HR Gov. As far as ordinance is concerned, Section 2.151 says that the finance director shall be appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the trustees. And certainly the current finance director has provided HR with suggested interview questions and key qualifications to help identify the best candidate. In Phase 1, initial panel interviews will be conducted by the mayor and human resource manager to at least select 2, possibly 3 candidates. In Phase 2, those candidates will interview with a member of the finance department and the board. And in addition, we will seek guidance from our village attorney in selecting the best qualified person and specific knowledge of municipal tax filings and compliance regulations, etc. So I thought Sinead did a nice job of outlining this, and this could take some time to find a great person to fill one of the most, to fill obviously an essential role here in our community and our village. I'd like to get the effective date of Mr. Alvin leaving us will be at the end of this month. So
So the 31st would be his last day, or?
yes, we tentatively, let's just say the 31st. I've got some other programs that I'm going to discuss with the board before the end of the month that Kent and I have been working on that I think will benefit the community and the taxpayers. So we'll be bringing those forward as well. As far as, I probably, because I don't have this on the agenda for a vote tonight, so, but we are, as far as any questions anyone may have, let's take a week and look at this, and if you have any suggestions or recommendations, please send them to my office, and we can incorporate that then too. We'll see if we get a consensus on everybody, if everybody agrees with what the HR person's got here then too, our HR manager. Next, I had the that's it. Sometimes I'm used to going on and on, so that's probably maybe a good thing. So then I'll go to the clerk's report. Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Presentation and approval of the July 2020 FOIA report. There were 22 requests last month, and the presentation and the approval of the July 2020 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $56,994.91. That is all, Mayor Ryan.
Thank you. Attorney's report, we have Mike Hankar with us?
No report, sir.
No report? Thank you, Mike. Engineer's report, he's been excused for the evening. Dan, did we have anything from Will Dolan? Okay. We've reached the public forum part of our meeting. Did anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? You come on up, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Good.
No, I was going to address the board, which maybe tonight's a good night because it looks like we have some stuff on the agenda later with number 7 that pertains to what I'm here about. So would you like me to wait until after you guys talk about number 7, or?
What did you want to talk about? The cannabis?
Yeah, about the cannabis.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, before you begin, could you please state your name and your address for the record, please? I'd appreciate it.
I am Brian Kobaka, 4413 West Jean Street,
Thank you.
Alsip, Illinois, 60803. So perfect timing. Reading that number 7 kind of pertains a little bit of why I'm here. I am here today.
I'm sorry, Brian, I don't mean to interrupt. Do me a favor. I know you want to give yourself a little distance from the trustee. Bring that mic back to you a little bit, but
Sure.
Unfortunately, that thing is kind of sensitive. You got to kind of crawl into it, Brian, that's all.
I apologize with COVID.
Thanks.
Everyone's kind of,
Yeah.
out there.
We appreciate your diligence.
Thank you very much. So reading what you guys have, talking about rezoning everything for cannabis. I actually have a plan in place right now that does not require the village to rezone. The issue you've had is not getting around the 2,500 feet. It's just that you've had the wrong people coming in that don't know Alsip. I know Alsip. I've identified a couple locations for a perfect, nice little cultivation center, 5,000 square feet of bloom that I'd like to open. Tonight, I just kind of wanted to do a quick little introduction, tell you, what I want to do and why I want to do it. The biggest reason that I want to do this and what's going to separate me from every single person that's going to walk in here is I'm 100% doing this for the Village of Alsip. I'm here today to promise that if everything goes as planned and we walk down this road together, and that's all I'm asking for tonight is just maybe a simple, hey, let's talk for a couple weeks and see if we can work something out. Right off the bat, I'm willing to build a football stadium at Sears Park. My definition of a football stadium is going to be AstroTurf and at least 99 feet of ADA compliant 10 to 15 row bleachers and a press box. Why? Because I've lived in this community a very long time. I spent so much time coaching youth sports and being involved with this community that it's a pledge I made 12 years ago to get that field done, and that's what I'm going to do. The other pledge that I'm going to make, if we start this journey together, along with that, because I love youth sports so much, I am also willing to pledge, once my business is up and running and we are funded, the Alsip, let's call it the Every Child Gets to Play program, where I'll also fund 250 children through the Alsip Park District and their soccer and basketball programs, 250 children at the Alsip Falcons, and 250 children at the Alsip Little League. With the, obviously some restrictions, i.e., all children have to live in the Village of Alsip because I want to give back. Why do I want to do this? Because I spent so much time in my life doing that very thing, giving back, coaching our kids, taking care of our community. And I want to give more because I've seen how hard it is on people. I see how hard it is right now on the Falcons. Falcons had to shut down their season. So did Alsip Little League. No season because of COVID. They're going to be hurting for a couple years. This is perfect. If we go my route, and because again, the other thing here, you guys have to understand with the process for getting these licenses, it's like the Olympics. January 1st, applications are due. 60. That's all they're taking. There's going to be thousands of people trying to do what I'm doing. I guarantee I'm the only one that is this vested in their community and looking to do that much. So at the end of the day, hey, if you're interested, everybody knows who I am, I hope, or everybody in here I'm sure can make a quick phone call and within contacting one person through the Park District, the Alsip Falcons, anywhere, can find out who I am and that I am sincere. I'm not trying to do this to get out of Alsip or make a bunch of money like a bunch of these other companies are doing. I'm doing this to give back, and I'm willing to put everything in writing. I'm willing to structure it in a way that there's plenty of safeguards to protect the Village of Alsip. Why? Because I live in the Village of Alsip. And if I'm a resident and I want to go into a business with something like this, I want to make sure that the village is going to be protected. So yes, my plan is in place. I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to sit down and start talking. My goal would be, hey, 2 weeks of conversations. Let's put some stuff on the table. 30 days, let the lawyers work everything out, do some rezoning, and put me in a position that, and look, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get it. But I think with the plan I have, because of how much I want to give back to the community, I think I put that application in January 1st, and I think December 21st I get issued a permit. And if I get issued that permit, I promise you, within, because of the time cycle of how marijuana grows, approximately 10 months. 10 months from the time I plant that first seed, I will start funding every single program that I talked about. That's my promise to you today. To start the meeting. Again, my name is Brian Kavaka. I will be, obviously listen to the rest of your meeting, and I'll probably be coming back, and I'm going to try to talk to everyone I can. I want everybody that has an opinion about this to talk to me. Because, look, I know what your reservations are because I'm from Alsip. I get that. And trust me, I've identified the spots that are going to have the least amount of impact on our community, and I've identified the right people to make it happen. I know your guys' concern is safety. Worried about the police department being overburdened. Very first person I went to hire on, I'm going to bring on Dan Godfrey, Chief of Police, Bedford Park. He's going to come on board. He's going to make sure that we do everything to make sure this is handled the right way. Not only that, hey, he was over at Bedford Park when they did the exact same thing. I'm consulting with companies in Bedford Park right now that went through the last, so I'm going to be well prepared to make sure to put us in a position when this application is filed in January that we have the best shot to get on the bandwagon now. Look, I don't know when these small permits are going to begin, and to be honest, do we really want 250,000 square feet in here for the first try? Probably not. Let's go the 5,000 route. And then if you want 250,000, if you want a company that's going to bring in $500 million a year, absolutely, let's do it. It's in the business plan if that's what you want. Same time. Look, if you guys just want it for 5 years and give it a try, I'll sign a 5-year contract. Let's give it 5 years, see how it works. At the end of it, if you guys don't like it, hey, no big deal. I'll take my business, I'll go someplace else. But at the end of the day, I don't want to. I want to stay here. I want to pump money in this town, I want to fix things. I want to spend as much money as I can. I thought about running for politics. Oh, God, that's not me. No offense to everyone. Seriously, I thought about it. I'm an introvert. You know, I like sitting in my backyard. You know, but I also like to take care of kids, and I like taking care of my town. And all the things I want to do, I promise you, is going to benefit everybody in this room and everybody in this town. So thank you very much for your time. I hope to hear from you again soon, and I hope to talk to everyone soon.
Could you sign in, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
I
Brian.
appreciate your commitment and your thoughts on it, too.
Question, can I ask him a question?
Sure.
Jobs available? Will you be hiring people that you know, people outside, people here?
Game plan with this proposal that I'm putting together is also going to be inclusive to Alsip. I'm going to have all sorts of language in there that I'm putting this business in Alsip to help Alsip, and it's going to be very high-paying jobs. Stipulations are going to be that you have to live in Alsip. I'm going to very much follow what, you know, police departments and everyone else use with residency restrictions to make sure that these good jobs I'm creating are going to stay in Alsip. Jobs-wise, look, the first go-around with 5,000 square feet of Bloom Room, you're not going to get a ton of jobs in me on that one. I'm probably going to have to float somewhere around 12 to 15 employees. Not a ton, still good-paying jobs. But now, if we look big picture and we look at prepping ourselves to getting ready for about 6-7 years down the road where we're talking 250,000 square feet facility, yeah, now you're talking 500-600 jobs a year, you know, high-paying job, really good-paying jobs. So yeah, there's plenty, and I'm going to, again, once the lawyers, if we go this route, and once the lawyers sit down to figure it out, I will have specific language in there that this is about Alsip, even in the hiring process. Same thing too. Right now, I'm assembling, you know, essentially a transition team that's going to help me getting this done. Most of the people on that board are going to be from Alsip. I'm reaching out to as many citizens from here as I can to put them. Look, they may not know everything about the accounting aspect of a marijuana business, but you know what? They know stuff about accounting, so they're going to be able to help us, you know, put the right people in the positions to make sure that Alsip is taken care of. That's why I started with Dan Godfrey.
Very good. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And so the public, we actually record all of our meetings. These are all on YouTube, so the public understands, too, what we're doing. On our agenda this evening is a couple of meetings ago, Trustee Murphy and I were talking, and what happened was we've already approved through board majority anyway, the ability to establish cannabis cultivation at 2,500 feet from designated spots like schools and parks, and there's a whole list of designated positions. I don't have it in front of me right now of the designate, but as far as that's on cultivation, on dispensaries, it was 1,000 feet. And I've actually, my assistant Becky Smith, we facilitated Becky 4 or 5 meetings with different companies that the cultivation was so site-specific, I wasn't going to get anybody. So what we're really doing here this evening is Trustee Murphy is asking the board to reconsider and amend the distance, which it's all been laid out for the trustees in their packets, to designate cultivation at 1,000 feet, much like dispensaries are. And we have GIS maps that tell us where those spots are at and stuff then too, on a big board here. So it gives us more opportunities. What it really does is it helps the whole community. It helps schools and parks and libraries and all that kind of thing, because really when it comes to cultivation, it's all property tax. It's not sales tax at that point. So, but we're going to do whatever it can to help reduce the vacancies in any of our larger buildings and our industrial areas. And whoever the potential party may be, could be yourself, you still need to go in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, where they're going to make a recommendation before it comes back to us. So thank you for your thoughts on that too, Brian. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. How many companies can we have in the village?
It depends on the
Location?
request.
Would be the state, wouldn't it?
Pardon me?
Number of
It'd not be
licenses offered.
The state?
Yeah, it's the
Oh.
state licenses, so they
Yeah.
only give out so many.
Last I
I mean, but I
heard,
think
like
we
Brian just said 60, I heard 55, but it's right in that ballpark, right? Okay, so they just did 50, they're going to do another 60 is what he was saying.
But in Alsip, we don't have a certain amount.
We don't have a
maximum.
specific amount, no. Standing committee reports, Finance Committee, Trustee McLaurin.
First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated August 14th, 2020, totaling $413,659.52. Next, I have a request for approval of accounts payable dated August 17th, 2020. From the recap, general fund, $372,321.58. Road and Bridge, $11,850.62. MFT, $3,795.12. Pulaski TIF, $3,850 even. Water and Sewer, $46,268.35. Heritage, $81,036.58, for a grand total all funds of $519,122.25. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. The Fire Committee report, Trustee Murphy.
I have presentation and approval of the National Fire Incident Reporting System July 2020 Monthly Activity Report, and finally, presentation of and approval of the Fire Prevention Bureau July 2020 Monthly Activity Reports. That's all, sir.
Thank you. Police and Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
I have a presentation and approval to award contract for sidewalk removal and replacement to Strata Construction, Addison, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $60,000. That's all, Mayor.
Mayor, I would like to put Mike Frater on the spot, if I could.
What's up?
Never on the spot. He's so cool like
You have a
that.
question?
Yeah.
Mike,
Mike,
can you
would
step
you
up to
mind-
the mic, please?
Mike, would you mind just describing in 100 words or less about what criteria, how that goes for the public? You know, we kind of walk around, we get a lot of phone calls, and, you know, even people on the street, you know, they complain. And, you know, my sidewalk is sinking, or my road is, you know, messed up. When's it going to get repaired? And I don't think a lot of people, just for the record, I don't think a lot of people understand how we quantify which, in this case, sidewalk squares get replaced.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so last year we began a program where we now proactively go out and do inspections on a 3-year cycle, where we divided the town up into 3 zones. So this year, being the first year with this program, we're doing the west side of Cicero. When we go out to do the inspections on these sidewalks, again, we're trying to look for areas that may present some sort of tripping hazard, and that's what we're trying to eliminate. So anything that might be lifted 1.5 inches or more, that's something we can't cut or grind, so it calls for a removal. So that's kind of how it's based on. It's also based on resident complaints. If we know somebody that's been hurt tripping, of course that takes a priority of replacement. Something that may be not necessarily a tripping hazard, but maybe potted, cracked real bad. Anything that can cause somebody to trip, that's our first priority. With budget restraints, sometimes it's difficult to do as many as we'd like. But again, we're looking to do approximately 375 squares this year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that hits pretty much most of the high priority ones in that zone. So,
And again, I'm sorry, Mr. Frater, that is for west of Cicero, is the first
Correct.
zone you're doing?
yes.
Thank you.
Which eliminates my neighbor on the west side of Cicero, because we don't have any sidewalks up there. You know, so, but I know, Mike, you get your hands full every season, and you and I talk all the time. Occasionally, you even get sidewalks that hold water or that become ice rinks, and it's not always the fault of the sidewalk. Occasionally, you get folks that cut their grass so tall it creates a channel per se, and it's holding the water. That
Right.
kind of
And while
thing, too.
that can be a hazard, the ice in the sidewalk, again, we're looking for something that presents a hazard 375 days a year, such as a tripping hazard. So that becomes a high priority.
That's a lot of days in a year. I'm just
365
saying.
days,
365,
375 squares, a long day.
I was thinking of the number
Mike
of
says
sidewalk
it-
squares that we were replacing.
Yeah.
My
Some-
mistake, yeah.
Feels at 375,
days a
Mike,
year.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Does that answer your question,
That's
trustee?
it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
What's after west of Cicero?
That will be in the middle section, so Davis State subdivision.
So between
Around the
Cicero
Village
and
Hall.
between Pulaski?
It'll be between Cicero and Pulaski, from 131st to 115th.
I just wanted to say thank you to you and your team for the work because of the storms. I can't, it feels like the days are a blur now, but I know that I was out there cleaning branches with my kids and my husband, and then your crew passed by because there was a big branch that came down, and you guys were really quick.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for
We
that.
actually completed picking up everything from the storms just today, so.
What Mike's guys did actually, and I told you it was great. You had 2 teams assigned last Monday when we had the big storm, and they were ready with the chipper truck and all that kind of thing. So they were out picking up the branches as fast as they could. So that's great, Mike.
Yeah, so
Great
there
deployment.
was a lot of residents that had storm damage. We responded to 6 calls of whole trees that fell, 1 on a house, 1 on a car.
Wow.
That took out a light pole, and then a couple that were just dropped in the middle of the street, blocking, so.
Well, I had a nice conversation today with Bill, I got his number. Anyway, he's the executive director for the Cook County Emergency Management Team. He's based out of the Homeland Security Office over in Oak Forest. He did check in with me today and see if we need any additional help, and I told him I felt you guys did a great job handling what we could, and I talked to him about streetlights that are still not working and so forth yet, too, so we're going to be addressing that tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Next, we had the sewer and water report. Trustee Nava-Esparza.
Thank you. I have the presentation and approval of the Water Department July 2020 monthly activity report, and I also have the approval of a resolution of the Village of Alsip authorizing the execution of an easement agreement with the Electrical Joint Apprenticeship and Training Trust Fund, and the I need some water. It's so dry in here. And acceptance of a bill of sale relating to a sanitary sewer system located at or near 6201 West 115th Street, Alsip, Illinois. I also have a letter of recognition for Rebecca Keating that I'll read. And this is written by Commissioner Dan Triben. We would like to recognize the 17 years of service that Rebecca Keating has given the Alsip Water Department. Over the past 17 years, Rebecca has mastered the ins and outs of the water department. It could be small tasks like work orders, meter exchanges, final water readings, or posting water payments for the day. She has helped countless residents with finding silent leaks in their homes or helped them set up payment arrangements when their bill was higher than normal because of that leak. She kept track of the vacant property registrations that aided in knowing who we needed to contact if a vacant property needed some lawn care or other repairs. There were many things over the years that she took the initiative to learn herself so she could help others out. She helped with building department tasks when the other clerical staff needed assistance. Her willingness to help other employees and her knowledge of the water department will be greatly missed by our department and will, quite frankly, be nearly impossible to replace. We all wish you nothing but the best in your new position with the police department. Thank you doesn't cover our gratitude for your service to the Village of Alsip Water Department. You will be greatly missed, Rebecca. Thank you. Dan Triben, Water Commissioner.
And Erica O'Donnell, Office Supervisor, also extends her well wishes to Rebecca as well.
Thanks for submitting that, Danny. Good piece. And just so everybody knows, Rebecca stayed with us. She accepted the new role at the police department and stuff. So, and we thank her for her service on water, but she's going to be working clerical at the police department now then too. So, in a quick interpretation for what Trustee Nava-Esparza was saying, basically, there's a lift station at the local 134 electricians school that they're actually building their own like minute clinic out there, right, guys? They're going to have their own clinic out there, and it's going to require that someone more so maintains the lift station. So that's why this is in place then too. That they're asking to Dan. Can you explain that real quick? And who's going to be responsible for maintaining the lift station?
Yeah, so EJET has their existing property. They built it in 2017. They built a lift station to tie onto our sewer system. So they own and maintain that existing lift station. This new building will need an additional consecutive lift station to pump the sewage to our existing system. So because the consecutive system is in place, MWRD is requiring that the village of Alsip take ownership of that first lift station, so that if for some reason in the future there was a change of ownership in either property, there wouldn't be any conflicts with continuing service. So we are going to own the lift station, but EJET is going to continue to be responsible for operation, maintenance, and renewal.
Thank you. It was a joint effort there and stuff, is what I was trying to get across.
Right.
Thanks, Dan. Next, the Building and Health Committee, Trustee Zelinski.
A presentation and approval of the Building Department July 2020 monthly activity report. Also, a presentation and approval of the Health Department July 2020 monthly activity report. That's all this evening.
Thank you. Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development, Trustee Navas Barza.
I just have an update related to the U.S. Census. Our 2010 self-response rate for Alsip was 72.4%, and today the Census Bureau updated our figures for our 2020 efforts, and we're at 72.5. So we passed our 72.4. And I just want to acknowledge the help of staff here that have assisted in these efforts. Kent Olivan, our finance director, thank you for helping to secure the census grant. And we're getting promotional items such as the banners, T-shirts, and also the kiosk that is still pending its arrival due to just the backup with electronic devices that are being ordered. And also to Mike Frater and your team as well for putting up the census banners and other banners around the community, just taking that initiative and making phone calls to make that happen, to get those banners displayed. And also Commissioner Roger Early as well for hanging banners as well. And thank you, Mayor, for your support in creating the Alsip Complete Count Committee. I think these efforts all have helped get us to where we're at. There are surrounding municipalities that have not met their previous 2010 response rate. For us to actually hit it, and we still have time to complete the census, or our community residents do, I'm hoping that we can get those numbers up as well. And there's another list of community organizations that have been vital in distributing census materials, such as the Alsip Little League. I dropped some materials off there. There's also Worth Township this weekend. I distributed materials there, Alsip Library, and so forth. So I'll produce a list of all the orgs. Hopefully, at the end of all this, I can, be able to thank them publicly here at this meeting, one by one.
Okay.
That's my update.
Last week, I signed off on a letter being issued through our Cook County Commissioner, Donna Miller, that went to Cook County President Tony Preckwinkle's office, asking the President they're trying to reduce the window for compliance with the census by almost a month, and we're asking for it to stay where it was at, because it could limit the funding that we get in our communities and stuff then too. So I did sign off on that last week, so that has been submitted as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Becky Smith as well. Thank you for all your help too. Can't forget you. All the updates on Facebook, and also just connecting me to key people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Village Property Report, Trustee McGlohorn.
I have a request for approval to award the seal coating contract for Heritage 1 and Heritage 2 to Shamrock Blacktop. They were the lowest of the three quotes that were obtained. The cost for Heritage 1 will not exceed $12,850, and the cost for Heritage 2 will not exceed $19,120. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Ordinance and legislation, Trustee Zelinski.
I have an approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Taxation, Article 8, Simplified Municipal Telecommunication Tax, Section 18-132, Simplified Municipal Telecommunication Tax imposed of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. Number 2, I have an approval of a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Alsip and the County of Cook relating to the receipt of coronavirus relief funds. And that is all.
All right, thank you. Next is IT, Trustee Dalzell. I'm sorry, we did that. That was with Finance. I apologize. We got to clean that up. We incorporated Finance and IT together.
Old agenda template.
Yes. Planning and Zoning and Licenses, Trustee Juarez.
I have a discussion and approval of case number 2020-8-S 600 I-2 to I-2, special use of the property located at 12549 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois. There was a planning and zoning hearing on Wednesday, August 5th, with a vote of 5-1 in favor of. I have an approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip granting a special use permit authorizing the repair of trucks for the property located at 12549 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois. And I have a presentation and approval of a list of licenses dated July 28th, 2020 through August 14th, 2020. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We do have some members here. I've met with you gentlemen before yet, too, with the property in question. Did anybody have any questions for these gentlemen? And just so everybody's familiar, too, 12549 South Laramie is the street that runs parallel with almost like the boat launch over near Ozinga Concrete there, and it is pretty popular with trucking repair places. I know you presented your plan to me, and it seemed like you have enough parking. That's always a big concern, but you do have enough parking, and you did present that to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which the majority gave you a favorable recommendation then, too. So we'll put this to a vote in a few minutes on two follows, okay? Nobody had any questions at this time. Thank you. Did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications? I know, Trustee Murphy, I saw your name at the bottom of this for all three of these.
Do we need to read it?
You have to for the record, actually.
Drink some water.
Where is the water? I'm in the Gobi Desert here. The proposed amendment to reduce the buffer for cannabis industrial facilities from 2,500 feet to 1,000 feet for specified facilities and uses will establish a requirement that cannabis odor mitigation plans be submitted as part of a special use process for cannabis institutional facilities. I plan to submit a request for the Planning and Zoning Commission to place this matter on their agenda at the next meeting, where all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard in a public hearing. Number two, parties seeking a special use permit for cannabis industrial organizations are required to submit a cannabis odor mitigation plan to ensure odor emissions from activities occurring on-site will be eliminated and or mitigated to the greatest extent reasonably possible. Each cannabis odor mitigation plan shall be in a form and contain such information as required by these requirements for cannabis odor mitigation plans. Number three, following the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing, I will ask the Village Board for approval of an ordinance amending Article 31 Cannabis Organizations, Section 103 Cannabis Organizations Components, and Section 104 Cannabis Institutional Organizations of the Village of Alsip zoning ordinance. Again, by amending the distance for cultivating cannabis, the village taxpayers will have more opportunity to benefit where potential companies may purchase available industrial properties with the likelihood of minimal, if any, turnover, when current economics are causing more companies to close or downsize and leave the village with vacancies that otherwise could be filled. My eyes are going here. Do
you need my cheaters?
Honestly. The mayor's office has already rejected numerous companies wanting to establish these businesses in Alsip, and we're forced to say no due to ordinance mandating 2,500 feet from designated properties, etc. And that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you.
And under that topic, I just want to point out the ordinance that was attached with all of this does need some further corrections. Not all of the 2,500s were converted to thousands.
All right, well, yeah, if you'd like to send the adjustments that you saw, we can certainly send it to the attorney.
Yeah, it was like some were changed to 1,000, but not everything was changed to 1,000 in the proposed ordinance.
Okay. Hey, I wanted to just do a short communication here as well, too. I want to thank Village Services this past Saturday. We had kind of a cluster that was going on all at the same time. Fire chief called me late in the afternoon, and unfortunately, a primary power line fell on a house on Joella Street. House caught fire, and so our guys went over to put the fire out on Joellis. At the same time, a street perpendicular to that on 115th Place, Danny Triben brought his crew out. They had a double water main break right there, so the fire department was down the street. The water main's going nuts. I called I came over to the chief. I was trying to help a 97-year-old senior out of a problem, and I came over and everyone lost their power, so I was walking down Joellis explaining to everyone what was going on. Unfortunately, they were able to get power restored. Then I walk around the corner to see Dan and his guys, and they had half the street taken up. Dan, did we get that resolved? How long were you guys out there? 11 o'clock, and they started about 6 for a water main break, double line break over there. So I knocked out water to 115th Place. 11 o'clock that night, I got residents calling me from 121st and Hamlin. They were still without power from Monday night, and which wasn't reported to me. Mike Frater, thank you for picking up the phone at 11:30 on a Saturday night. I got Mike on the phone. I'm calling ComEd and everybody else and just raising heck with everybody. And Sunday afternoon yesterday, ComEd, after 6 days, showed up and restored the power to that neighborhood. So everybody, I appreciate it, and appreciate your patience with me, because I'll tell you, somebody calls me at 11:30 at night, and my wife and I went over there at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning to look at that neighborhood, and I tell you, it was just absolutely pitch dark, not a porch light in sight. So, guys, great job, and a good hard weekend on everybody's part, working Saturday night and stuff then too. So,
I would just like to remind the board that there is no meeting next week on Monday, August 24th. The next meeting is a committee meeting on August 31st, because there were 5 Mondays in August. And starting in September, we go back to 4 meetings a month.
thank you. Did anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
I just had one more update, Mayor, if I could.
Yeah.
I would thank you to South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association. They provided funding for a GoPro camera to record census PSAs. So they included a GoPro camera and also a tripod and other stuff that I'll ask you about. Technology is, I get it, I fish play and stuff like that, but hopefully we can record more census PSAs. So thank you, South Suburban Mayors Managers Association, for their support.
That's great. Thank you very much. Then can I get a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who said the first one?
Second. Oh.
Okay. Didn't sound like you, Trustee McLaughlin.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Should I be more perky next time?
No. Said you're always perky in the first place. Roll call number 1 to establish the consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nevis Barza.
Yes.
Motion carries to establish the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee McLaughlin.
You're welcome, Clerk Petzel.
Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda. Letter C is in Charles's approval of a list of payroll dated August 14th, 2020, totaling $413,659.52. Letter D is in David, approval of a list of accounts payable dated August 17th, 2020, totaling $519,122.25. Letter F is in Frank, approval of a resolution of the Village of Alsip authorizing the execution of an easement agreement with the Electrical Joint Apprenticeship and Training Trust Fund and the acceptance of a bill of sale relating to a sanitary sewer system located at or near 6201 West 115th Street, Alsip, Illinois, will be known as Resolution Number 2020-08-R-1. Letter H is in Henry, approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Taxation, Article 8, Simplified Municipal Telecommunications Tax, Section 18-132, Simplified Municipal Telecommunication Tax imposed of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip will become ordinance number 2020-08-3. Letter I is in Indigo, approval of a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Alsip and the County of Cook relating to the receipt of coronavirus relief funds will become resolution number 2020-08-R-2. And finally, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip granting a special use permit authorizing the repair of trucks for the property located at 12549 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, will be known as as ordinance number 2020-08-4. Again, this is roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Trustee McLaughlin.
Like, wait a minute.
Trustee McLaughlin, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, thank you very much. Next. Did anyone have any unfinished business? Any new business for anybody?
Yes, I have a question. So I had a few residents contact me regarding cats.
Cats?
Cats. One mom calls, she messages me quite often. I had contacted Mike when the coronavirus started, and we thought, we'll give it some time to see how we were going to work out the coronavirus, and I said I'd get back to her. She contacted me again, this time with a few of her neighbors, and she said there's cats just everywhere. In her yard, they've made home in her car. She said a couple cats gave birth in the back seat of a car that she has there. The lady on the corner evidently is feeding them and leaves the garage open for them. And she said it's not one or two, it's like 20, 30 cats that just do not go away. They ruined her hot tub because they keep going under what is under there. They're having babies under there, and she cannot get rid of them. She said it's just too much now. She has 2 small kids. She can't let her kids out to play because they're everywhere.
If you can give that information to the building commissioner early, he can get you the contact info. We don't have an animal control in the village. We actually utilize Cook County Animal Control, but we can put you with the right put her with the right people to handle that and stuff then too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
If somebody, though, is blatantly feeding them outdoors, we do have an ordinance against that, don't we?
Well,
And
we've
can
got
ticket the person that is
we have a
doing that.
nuisance ordinance for that. Yeah. So we can certainly go over and offer a warning, and as a courtesy, and if that's not going to do it, then certainly we're going to issue a citation.
The one lady that contacted me, she said she was already warned, that somebody already went out and talked with her, but she's still doing it. And the ladies tried to catch the cats themselves.
Okay.
And that lady that was feeding them came, and she screams at them and hollers at them, what are you doing to my cats? But she said there's just an abundance of cats that there's no control.
So, Roger, if you can take an interest in that, I'd appreciate it, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Can I get a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:20. Everyone, please enjoy your evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.